The Manuscript of Survival, Part 427. October 9, 2014. For now, the quickening you have entered will begin to manifest in a myriad of ways. Some of them will feel familiar, while others will happen in a very unexpected manner. You see, this opening that you have allowed yourself to take part in will be put to good use, and through these openings many a form of information will continue to flow in, and through this information, a whole host of related events will come into being. Remember, you are all individuals, but by now you are so deeply connected that whatever takes place in your little personal sphere will affect those sitting in a very different location on your large but also very small planet. For you are all like one singular cell, one minuscule component of a huge and intricately constructed living organism, and as soon as one of you so much as flutter your wings slightly, it will have an effect on the whole, much like that fabled butterfly effect many of you have perhaps come to know about already. For you are no more isolated than a single coral on a large reef, but as you go about your day, we venture to guess you take little time to consider the effects all of these seemingly simple actions you take have on this entire planet of yours. For you are living, breathing change makers, and with your very presence, you are making change happen on such a scale and at such a pace, nothing the likes of it has ever been seen anywhere. We know that you still harbor doubts as to the truth that lies in our words, and rightly so, for you have been carefully groomed by your old but now defunct overlords to look upon yourselves as no more than small and insignificant grains of sand, there to be used as fodder for the grinder of mankind, forever being ground into smaller versions of yourselves. But that old truth has been more than exposed, for the lie it has been all the way from the beginning, and now, your true roles as creator gods are finally starting to rise to the surface yet again. It has been a long time coming, so no wonder your mind is still very much set into disbelief mode. For what you are about to do, will also break down even more of these old misdirected truths that have been brought down through many a generation on this planet. And so, as you step ever further into the seemingly unbelievable landscape that at this stage still seems like no more than an old and wildly exaggerated myth itself, you will begin to bring that essence of your own self up for you to not only acknowledge but to fully embrace. And when you do that, all of mankind will feel the effects from it. Again, your actions, whether you might consider them large or small, have great effects on all, and whatever you do or cease to do, will create a domino effect that in turn will run through every single human in one way or the other. We are well aware that for many of you, this will still seem more than a little far-fetched, while for others, a sage nod of acquiescence will follow from these words. For you all know this beforehand, but for a few of you, this truth has already become obvious, and it is one that you are starting to embrace fully in every way. And so, you find yourself experiencing things that others deem as just figments of imagination, while you know with all of your being that they are taking place. And they are not simply taking place within the realms of your imagination, they are actually being played out in full detail in myriads of dimensions already. For you have already started to play the field in every way, and when we say the field, you know very well what we refer to. For you have discovered the secret behind the one-dimensional facade mankind has been hiding for eons, and you have seen that you actually exist not as just one being, but as a collection of interconnected fragments or manifestations, all communicating between themselves at a speed that far exceeds that of the light. And they all act not only separately but also in unison in a way that is so intricately orchestrated, your human mind has no way of coming to full terms with it at all, no matter how hard it tries. For you are multidimensional, and it is this truth that is starting to seep into all of you. And with it comes a whole host of seemingly unconnected sequences of information that will at one time or another begin to register in your human manifestation too. At first, it will be a little bit like hearing snippets of conversations coming from every direction at once, like standing in the middle of a large field overhearing messages being transmitted by way of the wind from either side of the field in all directions at once, and between multiple recipients and senders. This is just a feeble attempt to explain it. Still, it is the best we can do at this stage by way of using the limited language of words. But as you have already ascertained, within these written messages there is another language too, one that is encoded in the spaces between the letters, if you will. For in this, the phrase pregnant pause very much comes to mind, if you will permit us to play with your words a little bit. For this multi-dimensional conversation is one that is not limited to language, nor to sound or any other way of communication you as humans have gotten used to. Remember, for most of the time mankind has lived on these shores, communication was limited to what could be exchanged directly from one person to another by way of the mouth and the ears, but soon, that grew into a pictorial way of communication that would enable you to share information independently of time, and that in turn has grown into ways of communication that are not limited by time nor by distance. In other words, a message can be stored and delivered at will, long after it has been given, and it can also be received a long way away from where it was originally given. So in that way, mankind has already made a huge leap in the way of intercommunication, especially during this last decade. Well, let us just say that the entire evolution of human communication so far is no more than the tiniest drop in the ocean of possible ways to exchange information, and you will begin to get a small picture of the huge step you have initiated by allowing yourselves to open up to the light, and by allowing yourselves to begin to step across this threshold that you have held yourself back from for such a long time. For now, the flood of light will continue to push you faster and faster ahead, and as this incoming light continue to enable your own inherent systems to come online at an ever-increasing pace, you will begin to tap into this varied field of communication in so many ways. And so, messages like this will in effect become obsolete in the not-too-distant future. For then, you will know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it is in fact you who are the message as well as the medium, and then, all external division will cease, and you will truly become one, yes, in every sense of the word, and in every sense of your being. For then, the ideas of separation will simply fade away so quickly, you will not even be able to remember they ever existed. And then, what has been lost will be found to such an extent, whatever needs to be lost will not exist at all. So you see, you have some interesting exploring to do in the time ahead, and it will all be done in the comfort of your own mind, to twist a little bit on the words again. For this journey is not one that needs any preparation, nor luggage, this is simply a journey that has no beginning nor any end. For this is the journey of you, the one that was begun simultaneously as everything else came into being, and it will continue as long as everything will be in existence. So even if you are used to dividing your history into days, decades or even separate lives, let us just remind you that you are plain and simply you, the same one you have always been, and the essence of all that you can be as you continue to unravel the mystery of this creation that you are just a tiny little component of. For you are God, yet you are also creation, and it is in this pregnant pause between the two that you come into being. And so, once again the words will perhaps simply continue to manifest the limitations of a human mind, while the energies within them will begin to awaken even more parts of that magical being that is you in all of your glory. So just prick up those energetic ears of yours that by now are more than ready to register the signals coming your way, and then, you will literally begin to see this whole amazing but at this stage perhaps totally confusing picture, in startling and indeed delightful detail. And then, you will begin to understand the true quest you are on, for it is so much more than a mere liberation of mankind. And with this little seed of enlightenment, we bid you farewell for now to give you once again some time to ponder our words and to tune into the vibration that accompanies them. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com